Okay, I have made a lot of swirl macaron tutorials over the years, and as you might guess, my favorite and preferred method is using plastic wrap and piling a bunch of different colors next to each other, rolling it up, and then using that in my piping bag. However, I've been seeing this more and more on Instagram. Maybe I was just unaware before, but I've seen people using these powdered food colorants like from the sugar art and putting that in your macaron batter just when you're done mixing it, giving it like a mix, and then it turns into this like tie-dye swirl kind of thing. So I decided to give it a try, and if I'm being honest, this is attempt number 2 because attempt number 1 did not go very well. But I'll tell you more about that later. This is just the French method, room temperature egg whites, streaming in some granulated sugar with a touch of cream of tartar in there. I'm just gonna whip this without any colorant, just keeping it white until I achieve a really stiff peak. You'll know you've achieved that when you can jiggle your whisk and that peak will remain upright. It doesn't go anywhere or flop over. I like to transfer my meringue to a larger, wider bowl while I fold in my dry ingredients, the almond flour and powdered sugar. This really helps make sure that I can visualize everything and stir everything together without leaving any pockets of dry ingredients or meringue. I'm going to add the dry ingredients in about 3 additions, and then as soon as I have everything in the same bowl, I will do the macaronage process, or mix by scraping along the sides of my bowl and pulling the batter back kind of over onto itself and through the center of the bowl. I will continue doing that until I achieve the ribbon stage, which is when I pull my spatula up and the batter will fall like a ribbon back into the bowl. I always try to keep this process in all of my videos because it is pretty tricky, and if you want to bake along with me or time how long it takes, some people like to know how many times you move your spatula. I don't do that, but it could be because making macarons is like second nature to me right now. But if you are new and want to do those things, go for it. So as I mentioned, I gave this a try once already before, maybe a week before I filmed this video. And the first time, everything was going so great. I was so excited. I was filming it, and I was using 3 colors. And I think I put too little of too many colors and then mixed too much. So even though the macarons turned out fine, instead of like a fun tie-dye, they ended up being like kind of a sad gray that looked like I just hadn't mixed the color in enough. So I scrapped that video and redid it with just purple and pink this time, added more color, and truly mixed in the color right at the end. I've heard other people say like mix it 3 times or mix it 5 times, or stir 6 times in your bowl. What my advice is, after now doing this twice, is mix your batter until you have achieved that ribbon stage. Add in the colors and give it like 2 stirs. You really don't want to stir that much, and you really want the batter to be at exactly the stage you want it when you add in those colors. The little stirs or little folds you have at the end are really not going to change or adjust your batter at all. All right, so I've gotten to that ribbon stage. I've got my 2 powdered colorants right here, and I'm going to use a little spoon to scoop out and sort of sprinkle that onto the top. I don't necessarily need it to be super evenly distributed, but I also don't want it to be all in the same place. I don't know exactly how much I used. That was not something I was measuring. But I think, you want to be relatively generous if you want a good tie-dye vibe going on. And I also think that the more colors you add, maybe the more difficult it will be. And especially with powdered colors, there are actually a ton of different colors packed into each one to create that exact tone. So now, as you see, I'm giving it like 2 complete stirs. And then, okay, maybe more. Maybe that was 3. And then I'm just going to use a bench scraper, a bowl scraper to scrape it up into my prepared piping bag. And as you can see right here, the color is definitely starting to show up, but you still see a lot of white. By the time I get this piped, you will see almost no white. So I really loved what I ended up with, and I'm so happy I didn't mix this anymore. It looks super cool and marbly in here. I really love it. But yeah, honestly, I mixed maybe twice as much in my previous video that I was trying to film, and everything just blobbed together into this gross grayish color. And I really tried to make it work. I even started editing the video and was just like, I cannot. It's too sad. So anyway, maybe for your first attempt, do it like me. The second go around, try it with 2 colors. And once you do that and achieve success, then maybe advance to the next stage of 3 or 4 or 6 colors. I also think because the colors will change and fluctuate as you go down, as you have your hand on the piping bag, as you're kind of smushing the batter a little bit. So if you are making a large batch, what I have here, I think this was 100 grams, maybe 75 grams of egg whites. If you are doing more than 200 grams of egg whites, I would for sure use multiple piping bags so you get distinct patterns every time and you're not kind of squishing it all together and ending up with kind of a grayish or brownish blob macaron at the end. But look how cool this is piping out. I am just using my regular piping tip. Everything is the same, and there are so many cool streaks and colors, so many different tones of purple and that pinkish red. It is so cool. Usually not a vibe that I go for, but honestly, I think for the right occasion, this is so much fun. And especially if you have a pretty simple filling, I think that this is a really great way to shake things up a little bit. So I'm just letting those rest like normal for about 20 to 30 minutes, baking them up like normal. For me, that's about 16 to 18 minutes, letting them cool, and then I'm gonna get these matched and filled. As you can see, they baked up so beautifully. Everything about them is just so gorgeous. The bottom is gorgeous. The tops are gorgeous. Every single one is so unique. I think with a lot of the swirl macarons that I make, yes, they're unique, but a lot of them look similar. I felt like with this tie-dye kind of style that all of them almost looked like different macarons. It was really cool and fun to play around with. If you give this technique a try, definitely tag me on Instagram so I can see your end result. I love seeing all of your hard work. If you want to, you can find me at Maddie Brame. All right, until next time, I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.